I thought our stream froze for a second. I was freaking out. Turns out Phil was just taking his time. We're good. We're good. All right, early assessment here, 24 hours. And what do you think, Larry?
I think he's right where he was, Dave. I think this is probably the best version of Phil that we've seen. There is a roundness and a fullness to his muscle bellies that you just don't see very often. And I don't mean at this contest, I mean very often, period. He literally has a three-dimensional effect to his body. And it really pops out, especially when he's next to other competitors. We talked about genetics, the small waist. You can see it here as he pulls his back back. And we should note that for people that think, oh, everything comes easy to Phil because he's got great genetics, let's not forget he was a guy who was widely criticized, no pun intended, for not having a good back. That's where he would never be able to be Mr. Olympia. Now he has one of the best backs in the sport. So a lot of hard work goes into this, no matter how good your genetics are. And conditioning is hard for everybody to come by without a lot of hard work. So I think Phil's put the work in. I think he heard a lot of the chatter that a lot of people felt Kai Green beat him last year, even though he had unanimous scores and was a unanimous winner with the judges both nights. And he put the work in, and he came back and put the best Phil Heath on the stage that we've seen. This is more like a combination of the last 2 years. He has the fullness that he had last year and then some, but he's got the conditioning like he had 2 years ago that everybody raved about. So I think he will capture his third Mr. Olympia. I don't think I'm going out on a big limb there, and maybe even create more distance between him and the field if he continues to come in like this.
And Larry, you mentioned that, and it's worth repeating, that when we're watching it here on this stream and on the monitor that we're watching on backstage, and if you're watching on your computer at home or wherever you may be tonight, that you don't really appreciate just how perfect Phil Heath is.
Yeah, what happens is you miss some of the conditioning. Like when you see him in person, he's covered with vascularity, for example, that on the monitor doesn't always come through. It's just the nature of the beast. But believe me, this guy's as conditioned as he's ever been.
Olympia champion, the Gift, Phil Heath.